Thanks so much for joining me here today as we get to talk about one of my favorite subjects, comic books. My name is Jose. I love comic books. I love talking about them. I love sharing them. I love reading them. I love everything about them. Follow me on social media, links in the description below. I just post my art. That's about it. I also will have a link to the DC fan page, which will if you want to know about any of these characters, you sure can. So, we're going to be looking at three issues today. We're going to be looking at Batman Legends of the Dark Knight, Volume 1, numbers 28, 29, and 30 by Matt Wagner. He wrote and drew. We start off with this incredible painted cover. Looks like he's using some pastels or oils or water. I don't know. He's using mixed media most likely, but this looks it's a beautiful cover. I bought all three issues off the rack. They're in terrible condition because I read these and devoured these. This was my first exposure to Matt Wagner. I had never I after since I'm quite the collector of Matt Wagner issues. I almost said memorabilia, but I thought this was so cool. I had never seen anything like this before. These covers were striking, and I love his signature. It looks like two diamonds, but it's Matt and the M and the W. Just absolutely breathtaking, beautiful art. It is not painted on the inside. It is penciled and ink, but these covers are so striking. So, Legends of the Dark Knight were sort of stories that were told in Batman's past. So this one is called Faces, and you could see from the cover that it's gonna be dealing with Two Face. So, um, just beautiful, beautiful stuff. So Matt Wagner, of course, is doing the story and the art. Is not doing the lettering and is not doing the coloring, but it's all it works so seamlessly. This is probably my favorite period of Matt Wagner's art. Like any other artist, his art has evolved, um, and it's still beautiful. I love his art even now, but this is my favorite version of his art. I think it still has some nuance of how his early works had done, but um, so basically here we start out with Two Face, and of course he's flipping his coin, and they the guard, you could see that they told him about the lights out, and so now we have the bat signal here, great vertical panel, and this person here says, "I don't see him, but you will when he wants you to." And of course, here he is. This is very part of why I like this era of Matt Wagner is very David Mazzucchelli ish. So Batman Year One, uh, it's very cool here. So um, the commissioner tells him Harvey Dent escaped about 2 hours ago, and Batman says, "Well, that would make it around two." And then he says 2:22 to be exact. He strangled the guard. So Batman says, "Oh, he's Two Face again. I'll be in touch." And um, just this art is just exquisite. I hope you are able to find these issues. They're not overly expensive. They have been collected. There's a Batman by Matt Wagner collection that just recently came out, so it should be in print. I think Faces, the trade, is out of print. That one may be harder to get. But the issues are not overly expensive, so it's well worth it. Matt Wagner is one of my most favorite ones. So here we have like a masquerade party, and here's Bruce Wayne here. So this person introduces himself. says he's Nelson Wren, and that this is his client, Mr. Uh, Duberville. His name is Paul, and you can see here he's um, introducing him. So he says, I haven't seen him around. He says nights are very busy. So he asks if he's going to sell him the Isle of Duberville. And he goes, I can't imagine that he'd want it. He says, privacy, leisure. And you can see him looking and looking. He says, headaches. How about 30 million? And Bruce Wayne says, done. Um, he tells Ren to call him in a week and they'll finalize. And it's a pleasure. And he he's glad they could conduct their business, but you can see love the cartooniness of he is smitten by this lady, and uh, it just like I said, smitten by her. So goes outside to meet her. You can see she's got a gun here. She says zap. So and so she's talking with a French accent. So I am the, so she's talking with an accent, kind of describing her costume here. He's a little embarrassed. He can see it's he's a musketeer because it was the last minute that costume. So the two become close kind of right away, and so they hold hands and um, introduces himself. He's a real estate agent, and they go prepare for a kiss, but then there's a scream, and this person, the devil mask, is screaming. Bruce Wayne is looking forward, and then falls down, and this guy in the duck suit says he's a doctor, and then when they take the mask off, um, he his face has peeled with it, and this was Donald Tremaine. He was a plastic surgeon. Of course, Bruce Wayne is um, going to turn into Batman. So great. Matt Wagner is such a great storyteller. I just absolutely love his art. I could show you Matt Wagner art all the time. There's a YouTube channel dedicated to Matt Wagner, so check that out. It is not mine, of course, but um, it's interviews and going through some of his creator-owned work. So give that a look. So you could see that box was being lowered from the here, and this guy's given directions, and suddenly um, there's a gun, and we can tell that that's most likely Two Face. Love how they do the lettering and the whole how he's speaking. So he's robbing this. It looks like he's instructing these two guys to grab that disc. Um, so they're taking it, and of course, Batman shows up right there. Great. It's just awesome. So, like I said, this is my favorite version of Matt Wagner. It is not to say that I don't like his newer stuff. I truly do. I love Matt Wagner, but the way he's drawing here is my favorite version. So I'm hoping to eventually do the Batman Grendel. So here she gives him a kiss. He's just so happy, and he walks into his office. Um, and this person, also in a French accent, um, he wants that island, that Bruce Wayne. So and told them that he will present an offer of 10 million more than what Wayne paid, and so. But again, you've got the amassed individual. So he goes in to talk to Mr. Wayne. Alfred's gonna take him. He is tells Mr. Wayne that he's sorry for disturbing him so late. Mr. Wayne says not a problem. And says that they have new developments and about the proposed deal, and the second buyer has offered to bid 10 million from his own, and they didn't know how it was discovered, so he thought it was fair. He knows. Bruce says he knows how hard it is to keep secrets. He says to contact Paul. They'll meet him at the Gotham's Men's Club, and at 1 p.m. So he says the night beckons. So the next day, you can see them running the track, and as the two men are in better shape, and he's like, someone's offered 40, and anonymous doesn't sound very solid, and it's still 40, and then Bruce says we'll do 50 with 25 down, effective immediately, and then says that he's got a deal. So then that lady is going to meet with him, and so we know, you know, it's 3 issues, so we're sort of kind of getting slowly through. He's smitten with her, and they are they're kind of making a one, because she has to leave, and he's very sad. So she's like, "Well, I figured I would kind of spend the time with him." Um, so she's going back to France, and says they still have tonight. So, and he's, like I said, um, very he's very in love with her. So, and gets in the car, and this guy is missing his legs. You can see it here, and it's her cousin apparently, or that's what she said. So, and Batman is still investigating the death of that plastic surgeon. He believes Two-Face is gonna hit it. Again, very David Mazzucchelli-ish, which I think is why this is probably one of my favorite Batman stories. So, and I think this guy is shot here, because you can see and so Batman is going to go see, because he was waiting for it, and sees the killer running away, throws his batarang, or his rope. Um, I just, something about Matt Wagner's art. Love how he's just spotting the blacks, and it doesn't matter that it's touching. Very Frank Miller-ish also. So Batman does manage to catch him. Gordon tells Batman that 2 zebras were stolen from the Gotham Zoo, and he wants and Batman asks him to, and he wants to interrogate the prisoner, and here comes the Mr. Wren here, and of course the person here is shown up. So he's going to he says that he doesn't know what his scheme is, but he wants in, and he wants 25% of Wayne's latest bid of $12.5 million. And they said, okay. He says, well, now that I have you, I don't mind paying to keep you here. So kind of a little heel turn. People ultimately kind of do what um they do. So and so he's got the guy, and look at this, just amazing. He's threatening him, very Dark Knight. So the guy says, "My rib, what are you doing to my rib?" He says, "I'm holding it." Ah, that's painful. He asks about Two Face and where he met him. And the guy's yelling France. So we got a lot of French people. So he's going to persuade D'Urberville and says goodbye. And then he recognizes that same limousine. So something's up. Turns out that that guy, of course, is Two Face. And you can see here he is working with people that are considered freaks in society. So he's got a plan. And so here we are, another great cover, painted cover by Matt Wagner. Just exquisite. Don't know whether he's using oil or pastels or both or whatever, but it's beautiful. And so we kind of get a little bit of introduction of who these people are. So they've all been missing. So and Batman says here, they've all been missing, and sideshows are still prevalent in Europe, and that Two Face seems to be gathering their own. So, and here they are. He says that they're his people. He wants to create a refuge for all these people, um, so that they have a place to go. So again, part 2 of 3, and here we have the credits. This art is just amazing. So just amazing. Now that we sort of know what's going on, I can go a little faster. At least I wanted to get the setup. Here, Batman's just doing Batman things again. The David Mazzucchelli ish um, is very, very is I think part of it. So he's he's still investigating that murder and sees that this individual ends up dying, and he's like, "How can that be? I checked everything." But obviously, something he missed. The problem with spotting blacks a little bit is that sometimes you get unclear images. Now, it does eventually kind of clear up. So here, Mr. Duberville is going to stay in town. He doesn't want to drive all the way to the estate and keeps this apartment to the side. And I think that this is these people climbing, but it's really hard to you start looking at it and you're like, okay. So that's the only problem with sometimes with making it too black is it's really hard because if you look at this panel, um, it's very unclear as to, for me at least. So these two, as you can see, there's no bottom, so you can see that this is one of the guys in the limo, and you can see that their hand are there, and they're investigating. You see him opening the shirt, and now we are moving on. He is definitely moving very uh, no, not moving per se, but Matt Wagner is definitely very very simplistic. In this again, this is like my favorite of his thing. So this part here reminds me of the movie Seven, that the painting was moved. So this is what he notices and sees that um there, and Gordon's wondering why he moved the painting. So when Gordon asks about the painting, Batman just says he wanted the wife. They wanted to make sure the wife found the money, not the police. So Batman's upset that the house was. He thought the house was safe. So they analyzed the meal, and there was a slow-acting poison that released a lot of methane throughout the body. So when he lit the cigar, it caused an internal explosion, but he would have died in his sleep regardless. So he was set to die no matter what. Gordon tells Batman not to blame himself. He's not the killer, but Batman, of course, says, well, he might as well be because he feels that he failed. Two-Face is asking about, what names they should come up with for the island. Anton whispers something into him, and he realizes that Mr. Duberville is not what it seems, and that it's so perfect. And so they're here to sign over the title of the island. So Mr. Wren will be the witness to Mr. Duberville, and then this guy here will be the witness to Mr. Wayne. And he says here he'll get 25% down, and the remaining balance will be distributed over the next 10 years. And he's all happy, and everybody signs. And here he says, this is one deal which all parties are satisfied. So Alfred is going into the cave, and Bruce is just overthinking things, and he decides he should be going out, just kind of to deal with the things. And he says he'll be gone for a day or two, and for Alfred to handle everything. So love this. God, such beautiful art here. So Batman is following this old person here for a couple days. So he's this is him, and this is him, and this is him. So he's in disguise. And so Batman sees that the guy has a bit of a double life. So he's gonna go see a woman here. I love this panel. Love this. So this isn't Zipatone. I think he's using charcoal, which he has employed more and more on his. So he throws a gas to knock her off. So he thinks that perhaps the lipstick was poisoned. So wants to double check and make sure. So Paul Duberville is going back to the Gotham apartment. He comes in. Of course, Two-Face is right there, but he's not revealing himself to be Two-Face. And says, Mr. Duberville thinks it's a robbery. He says it's not robbing you. And he says he knows his secret. He doesn't need to clutch his chest very much. And he's going to renege on that deal with Wayne. And instead, he's going to sell them the island for $1. And if he understands, and he says yes, and if you do this without any problems, his secret will remain safe. If not, well, he gets the idea. And there he is, all huddled. Bruce Wayne received that message that his down payment was being rejected. Mr. Wren says he's in the dark. He received a fax of it this morning. He's been trying to call Mr. Duberville, but he can't get any response. Bruce Wayne says this something's up because, he's always inconsistent, but this is even too much for him. He knows that he wanted to make that sale, and then he says maybe he had a better offer, to which he looks at him and says, well, there was that other buyer. He says to please check on the current property status. So, and his secretary tells him that uh, online there's a call for him from account Della, and he's like, yep. And then she can leave for the day. So he's going to um, give him a reward for that, and he's gonna send him his part of the earnest down payment to this account. So they basically stiffed Bruce Wayne out of 12 million or 10 million dollars or whatever, and he lays down. He's very happy, and all of a sudden goes, "Oh," because he sees her. So he's quite happy. I love the shoulder pads. I believe that's what they are. They're very straight. So they're very 80s fashion. Um, I know Matt Wagner didn't color it, but I wonder if he had some kind of input because this just looks very lovely. So, and they're not gonna go out, and she locks the door and she says, "Well, we're gonna go in, or staying in or whatever." And she undresses for him and look at him just, and it's DC, so we don't show any nudity. So, and gets rid of his clothes as well. So we know what they're up to. So Bruce Wayne goes and finds Mr. Duberville. Wayne basically says, "I've been trying to find you." He says, "No, that's all right. I was expecting you. It doesn't matter." He says, "Nothing does." He says he's been blackmailed. Uh, Bruce asks by whom. He says that the other buyer is blackmailing him, and he knows that if he chooses to fight, he'll win, meaning Bruce Wayne would, but that his only hope is that by telling him how it would ruin him, that he won't. And then he asks for his name. So he says he calls himself the Count Enance, but I'm sure that's an alien's. And then, of course, he gets it countenance as in face, so he knows already who it is. So he wakes up, and Manon is already gone, and he's just walking into it. He's wondering where he can find her, and then he's like, "Oh my God, what have I gotten into? Larceny, fraud, extortion, maybe even murder." And then he's smoking. He's like, "Oh, this is horrible. I don't even smoke." So, and then in the Batcave, Batman has determined that the purpose is clear. The murders were a diversion. The night that he saved Kepler, Two-Face kidnapped the pilot, who was the guide to the first transatlantic dirigible flight. So there's a reasoning behind everything. So he's sort of figured it out. He's gonna go confront Two-Face. Meanwhile, he's been looking for Manon. He's been looking all night, and then he finds her. He's running toward her, and so he called the French consulate and says that there's no Count de la Enance. Now, this part here is a little bit, so it's a roadblock. I don't know exactly what this is. It looks like a tree of some kind, but again, it's not very clear. This, you can see the headlights, but it just, not everything sort of hits. Sometimes when you work with blacks, you you have to be very careful, because what's this blue? Is this a wall? Is this, we can see we believe this is foliage coming down. So some things it's just a little hard to figure out. Anyway, she takes out a gun, shoots him Love this. They stick him in the trunk, and then they go. So Batman has figured out where Two Face is, and so he goes in there, finds the baby, sees that it's not quite. Then he says the horse dung, which is for the zebra, and then he's hit from behind. And of course, Two Face has put him at the on the top of the dirigible, and very, I love the hatching that he's done here. And we now go into our conclusion. Great, the painting just absolutely fantastic. We'll look over this cover again. So fantastic. So we reach our conclusion here. So Batman's trapped and does not have his utility belt. Nobody ever unmasks him. Nobody ever says, oh, you're Bruce Wayne or whatever. So love the coloring too. Very good job with the coloring. And so Batman's pleading with him, says, you're not Two-Face. You go these impulses. But it's all for naught. Everybody always tries, but Harvey always will always be Two-Face. Mr. Wren wakes up. He was shot in the stomach. He should be dead. So it was most likely maybe a tranquilizer. And there's Two-Face with all the carnival freaks there. And Faces Part 3. So Two-Face is going to present him that cashier's check of $12 million. That's the price that he blindly helped them acquire, and that he couldn't distinguish a real French accent from a fake one. So then you hear in the background, and of course her face is hidden, so she also has a secret. So she apologizes. She says, you fell in love with me, or without ever really knowing, and you only loved her form and her face. But turns out that she has a beard. She's a bearded lady. So, and she wants another kiss. Here we have the two zebras now as Batman looks on. So he's thinking he needs to create some kind of diversion. I love the small ears too that Batman, or that Wagner gives Batman. So he uses some kind of he doesn't have his utility belt, so he must have had something hidden in the glove. So then he's able to. He's always got something going on, and he aims at the zebra like with a dart or something, and the zebras start kicking. And so again, so she's telling him, you didn't treat me like this. Where's those words of passions that she whispered, or that he whispered to her? That gaze. So of course he's a. She says here she was fully bearded by the time she was aged. She can't imagine what she had endured. Wax treatments, electro list, nothing. Nothing worked. The hair grew. So, and she's like, "Yep, men are just like you," and he can run, but he can't hide as he runs away. And so now he's going through, and everywhere he looks, um, for him, it's like a house of horror, looking at all the deformities. So he a little freaked out, and then they hit him in the back of the head. The two brothers here, and throw him in a cell. He's just crying, and he's like, what has he done, and what will they do to him? And so suddenly there's someone there say, enough, blubbering man. And of course it's Mr. Duberville, who's also in there. And so Duberville, of course, says, oh, you must have been the inside man, and now you're in the outs. He says, oh, he didn't have an idea, which of course he agrees, as we take a look at Gotham City there. And so here comes Batman. I don't particularly like this portion of it. I think I like it when Wagner puts it more toward up here, but and Batman figures out he's in the industrial district, so off he goes. So um Duberville says, they brought him along to safeguard in case of troubles, and Ren wonders why he would cooperate, because he knows, and you can see him taking off his shirt. He knows the truth, which is he's got another pair of hands. So he also has freak-like qualities. So, and Batman is, of course, approaching, and he goes, well, why are you telling me? And Duberville says, well, he has no reason to keep you alive. So he realizes he's expendable. But Batman has arrived. So I love this part. Stand back from the bars, but the bars are right there. I like that. And he's going to let him out. Batman cuts the bars open and makes his way in. And when they open the door, Batman attacks. So, and he's like, please stand back. I wish you no harm. But to no avail. And so, once again, Two-Face says face to face. So, and now Batman's all tied up. It's a really good story, so. And they're going to take Duberville as an insurance policy and use the money from Bruce Wayne to build upon, and doesn't know what to do, so of course with them, so he's going to use his coin, and of course he flips it, landing on the scarred side. So, and they're gonna take Mr. Wren. Batman's like, no, take me instead. Harvey tells him that fate has chosen, so, and fate can't be denied. So they're taking the blimp. And they're going to, of course, push Mr. Wren out. So he doesn't want to, he pleads, but Harvey's doesn't care and tells him goodbye. He crashes through with a big thud right here. Batman, of course, finally breaks through and feels sorry for him. So Mr. Nelson Wren got was seemingly what he deserved, but Batman would have tried to save him if he could have. So now he's got to try and stop Two-Face. So, and he makes his way once he slaps. It's funny that that should have caused an error, but instead it goes in. So he's gonna climb up. Love, I love Matt Wagner so much. So Harvey points the gun at him. Harvey is wondering why he's going through such a trouble to stop, and he says, "The innocent men you killed," is his reasoning. And he's like, you know, there were beauty merchants, is all. So, and the kind of people that my people need haven from, the kind that makes them need it, and one of them goes, "I don't need it," and Harvey looks back. He goes, "Which one of you said that?" And he goes, "I did. I quite enjoyed being in show business." And this guy here, had a house and the cars, and the second one here, he doesn't have eyelids. He said he'd kill me if I didn't cooperate. This one here says he said he'd kill my kids. No, kill Batman. And so um here's one where it says my husband said he loved my horn. So they weren't all unhappy. So it's just Harvey. So some of them were unhappy, some of them were, but not everybody was. And so Batman uses that distraction to punch Harvey. And the blimp's going down. And it lands. You can see Batman getting out. Very David Mazzucchelli-ish, like I said. Batman pursues Harvey. So there's a circus here. He's like, how perfectly perfect. And the man with two faces. This one here says, "Oh, you're that criminal. You need to be stopped. You're a disgrace to us all." He's got 4 kids. He only goes on the road when he needs extra cash. His eldest started college. So see, they're not all unhappy. It's just Harvey. And Batman's coming to save him. So Batman stops him after pleading with him. So love this scene here. Very simple, but and then we end with him back in Arkham Asylum. So Bruce Wayne tells that in his own twisted way, Harvey was looking for justice like him. The difference, Alfred says, being the absence of the murder in your own pursuits, which Bruce Wayne hums. And so fate fate spawned them both, essentially, is what it is. And he went to the cave, and then it ends with Harvey just sitting in prison. Love this drawing. So it is a bit of a long video today, but I did cover three episodes here. So thanks for listening. Like and subscribe.